getting what you want done for your online business, if you feel like you're uninspired, if you feel like you don't know what to do, you're confused half the time, let me tell you, this is what you need to do. You need to start thinking about time management, right? And so, obviously, in all fashion, we are late today. We are usually here at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, but I was having some trouble logging into my account. So, if you are here, I'm so thankful for you. I can't wait to connect with you guys. But listen, if you haven't been managing your time in your business, today I'll be sharing a few things. The first thing I'll be sharing is why you need to be time tracking and what I did to completely change my own business and make more money. Hello. And that's what we're all wanting to do. I hope so. At least if you're running a business, then that's what you need to think about. I think I'm freezing. Yikes. And so the next thing is how it actually changed my business. So I'm sharing how it changed my business. And I'm actually also sharing what I used, because I used a few tools and I finally settled on one, and I'm actually loving that one. You guys know, when I find a tool that I absolutely love, I have to share it with you guys. So listen, if you are here, definitely say hello. I am looking at my chats. This is a live video. You know how we do on a Friday. Introduce yourself. Let me know you're here. Talk to me. That's what we're here for. But listen, let's kind of dive into it. First of all, I remember a time where I never tracked anything. And so two things happened to me when I didn't track. So the first thing that happened is that I would work such long days. Like I would work 16 to 18-hour days, because when you first start working for yourself, you love what you do. You're so excited. You're so hyped. You just want to do all of the things, right? And so I want you to let me know down in the comments, like, which bucket you fall into. So I first fell into that bucket of wanting to do everything, super excited, like going crazy over all of the exciting and new things that I, was doing as a creative. I just got sucked into it all. And I realized that, that was a lot, guys. Like, I was working like crazy. And so that's not too healthy. But I also ended up on the whole other end of the spectrum, where I felt like, oh my gosh, are you doing enough? Like, what's going on? Like, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at my finances. Like, what's going on? And so you can end up in both buckets, where you feel like you're getting nothing done, because I've been there as well, where I feel like I'm working, but I'm not really getting much done. Like, I feel like I'm working a lot of hours and I'm doing so much, but I'm not getting a lot done. So I've been in the place where I was getting everything done, all the things, and definitely fell into burnout. And I still teeter-totter in that pool as well. But I also fell into that pool where I wasn't getting anything done, right? I was getting a few things done, and those things weren't money-making activities. And I think that's really important for us to remember as business owners. Making sure that you are focusing on things that are, connected to your bottom line are super important as well. So a lot of us are completely stressed out about social media, and we don't actually have solid packages. We aren't sure about our systems and how those things are actually selling to people and connecting with people. But we're just focused on social media, but you haven't actually built out what inside of your business looks like, right? So there's so much as it pertains to time management, but what really got me was when I decided, hey, I need to see a change. And if I need to meet my monetary goals, and later on in the month, I think we're going to talk about that, because I'm going to share one of the tools that I use, which is Bench, which I love. And that's what really helped me to decipher, well, girl, you need to double down on the time that you're spending and what you're spending that time doing, so that it contributes to that bottom line. So we'll talk about that later on this month. So if you're not subscribed just yet, you need to subscribe if you are thinking about how you can actually manage your finances for your online business, how you can get, great bookkeeping and accounting and taxes. I have to make a whole separate video on that. Anyway. So I was doing too much or too little. And so I decided, well, hey, I need to find a really good balance. But before I get into that, you guys know that I feel like for me, entrepreneurship comes kind of naturally. Like I usually take different risks than everyone else. And it's because I come from a lineage of entrepreneurs. Like my grandmother, my dad, like everybody was just doing their own thing when I was growing up, and seeing that, or even if they weren't doing their own thing and they had a 9 to 5, they definitely had a side hustle. So I saw that from young. My dad, for most of my life, had his own business. And so I remember when I got to the point of I felt like I wasn't getting much done, or I wasn't moving the needle in my business, but I felt like I was working 16-hour days. He was like, you got to change your day around. He's like, think about it. Like, what did you see me doing when I actually, would be around the house or get up for work? And I remember my dad waking up at 4 to 5 a.m., showering, getting ready, and, heading to work, even though he worked for himself. And so he always told me that a lot of his success depended on the fact that he never thought about his work like it was, for himself. Because if he thought about it like that, he wouldn't get anything done. Because a lot of times, and this is just human, we don't hold ourselves accountable. So he thought about, even though he had his own business, he acted as if he had to still get up, get ready, get breakfast together, all the things, and go off to work. And so when I told him, like, that's the person I go to whenever I'm struggling with anything in business, I call my dad, because listen, why not? He knows it all. He definitely took care of me and a whole family growing up. So I know that he knows exactly what he's doing. And so that was one of the moments that I called him, and he said, well, tell me what your day is like. Parents are like, tell me what your day is like. What is your day like? And I was like, okay, so dad, I wake up, but I run to my desk and I run to the computer and I dive into emails and I start answering emails and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. So tell me, so did you did you center yourself? Did you get dressed for the day? Did you have breakfast? Like, are you doing any of those things? And I'm like, well, no, after I talk to everybody and do all the things, then I get into that. And he's like, that's your first mistake. So that was my first lesson in time management. Just really understanding, well, first of all, listen to this. You need to have time for yourself. You need to center yourself and get ready for your day. So for me, one thing that I do as it pertains to time management is that I have time in the morning, no matter what's going on. Like, it has to be really serious for me to actually schedule something at that time. But for me, in the mornings, I have to center myself. I have to get grounded. I have to get ready for the day. I have to shower. I have to get myself together, because you do so much, like, you do your best work when you feel like you are actually, ready to work. And I know some people are good with the, pajamas and the couch and all that stuff, but that just did not work for me. I was definitely not meeting my goals when I was doing that, when I would just wake up, brush my teeth, and then get on the computer. I'm not doing my best work when I do that. So if that's you, darling, you need to get it together. So that was one thing that, the first thing that I was like, okay, so I really need to reevaluate what I'm doing when I wake up. And I've been doing that for a few years now. And it's one of the best things that I do, because I really center myself and get myself together as it pertains to getting business done. And you know what? You look good, you feel good. You don't have to be, beat a full face or anything like that. You just get yourself together as it pertains. Okay, guys, I got cut off. So I don't even know where I'm streaming to right now. Hopefully I'm able to connect these videos for later. But if you are still here, let me know you're still here. Oh my gosh, what's going on? And so I was speaking about getting ready for work and, looking your best and feeling your best. So hopefully you're still here. If you're still here, just let me know down in the comments so you can see me and hear me. And then we're going to continue. Oh my gosh, like, what is this? What's going on? That is so weird. Okay. Tyranny. Okay, cool. Okay, so Tyranny said she is still here. Okay, still here. Okay, great, guys. Whew. What was that? That's the craziest thing about going live. So I got to where, okay, Tiff said she's still here. All right. So let's roll with it. Okay, Sandra's here. Oh, all right. So we in here. We good. Hey, Cole. So this is the thing. Like, one of my favorite books in the whole wide world is the War of art, right? I always have to think about how I'm saying that because, there's the art of war as well. But there's the War of Art by Steven Pressfield. And so in there, he says, think about yourself like a company. Don't think about yourself as, an entity or as your personal self. And so it kind of took me back when I read that years after. It took me back to what my dad was saying years ago, where he was telling me, you can't think about this like this is you, because sometimes we just tend to think too small. Let's just be honest here. So, the thing is that we really have to think like, this is not my thing. Like, girl, I got a boss. I got somebody watching over me. And even if you can't even process it like that, like, you're moving in purpose. You're doing this for God. You get what I'm saying? So you got to report to him when you ain't hitting your goals, because you asking him for this and that, but you're not showing up like you want this and that. Okay. So that's one thing that definitely had me thinking like, okay, so you know what? I need to start getting my day together and focusing on what it is that I really want. And it's funny because last week I spent some time creating a planner, which the people in the Start Street Grow Video Academy have access to. And so, revamping my planner and recreating it and just adding some finishing touches to it. And so one thing that I gave as a bonus is my daily template. I gave you guys my daily template because I know that I want to check certain marks before I even start my work day. I need to make sure that I'm taking that personal time where I'm not scheduling any meetings. I'm not doing anything like that. Like, one thing I want you guys to take away is never do meetings in the morning. Like, meetings sometimes are, there's no, schedule your meetings for the afternoons, right? Or after 11 a.m., I would say. Like, never schedule meetings early in the morning. We know sometimes a meeting can be an email. Have you ever felt like that? Yes, girl. Yes. So schedule your meetings for in the afternoon. So for me, that definitely saves me a lot of time. And because I know that I'm scheduling my meetings for in the afternoon, I know that, hey, all of my meetings are going to be in the afternoon. So I'm never worried. A lot of times we spend time processing, and that keeps us back from actually producing or being productive, right? So definitely I want you to think about that. Like, schedule, like, know that, listen, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have 2 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. for meetings. And if you get meetings in that time, you automatically know, even when you're delegating and outsourcing, you know that your people need to schedule meetings at that time, right? Exactly. Tierney said, I don't start working with clients until 1. Exactly. Because you need that time to center yourself, get yourself together, meditate, journal, do all of the things, manifest all of the things you want, put yourself in position to win, set intentions for the day. And the second thing that I want you guys to always do is make sure that you are creating something, one thing. Because a lot of times we make this elaborate to-do list that we never get done. But if you create one thing, or if you say, okay, so at the end of this day, I'm going to be so happy if I have this one thing done. That's definitely a game changer. So I want you guys to think about that as well, right? Let me see. Shariva said, I love morning meetings. I am fresh and on my toes. Yeah, Shariva, and it definitely depends on what your meetings are about. So if you know it's a meeting where you need to be your clearest and you're heading the meeting, you're leading the meeting and that kind of thing, then that's fine too. Right. So I totally get it. So take my tips, but definitely mold it as it pertains to your day. But scheduling and time management is so super important. So make sure that you have that one thing that if I finish this thing by the end of this day, I will be happy. Even if you have a 9 to 5 and you know that, after I get home from work or before I go to work, I'm going to complete this one thing for my business or my side hustle. And I'm going to be so happy and excited and it's going to be lit. Make sure you're setting that daily intention. Life is intentional, guys. Like, life is about intentions. And I want you guys to keep that in mind. And don't be afraid to prophesy your day. Like, don't be afraid to say, well, by the end of this, don't be afraid to say today is going to be a really profitable day. Or today is going to be a really productive day. Don't be afraid to say that, because when you claim those things, that's how your day will go. A lot of us wake up and we just leave the day to do what it does. And you're not going to get where you're going if you do that. Now, listen, here's the thing. I want you to make sure that you are so clear on the things that you are doing in your business, right? So for me, I know that in my business, I have to make sure that I'm taking time to plan and organize. I'm taking time to, so every day I start my day, even though I plan and organize the night before, I may have to rearrange some things in the morning. I may have to connect with team. I may have to make sure that, everything is scheduled or going as planned for the day. I may need to reevaluate. Maybe my to-do list is too long. So I take an hour to plan and organize because I know for me, it keeps my anxiety down and it just makes me feel so much more like, centered, right? So that's one thing that I make sure that I'm doing. So I might be having my morning coffee and I might be planning and organizing, but I'm timing that. I don't play. I'm actually timing it. I'm actually tracking it inside of what I use as Clockify. Girl, I've tried Daily Harvest. I've tried Toggle. I've tried, there's another one. I tried so many other time tracking tools, but Clockify gets it done, honey. And it's not complicated. So maybe next week I'll show you guys what inside of my Clockify looks like. But I love using Clockify for that. Right. So I know that planning and organizing is something that I do every day. I may need to move around something, change around something, move my schedule, move something from over here to over there. And although I have people doing that for me on the back end, it's still really important for me to get in there and just make sure things are okay. The second thing that I know, especially when you have decided, well, girl, listen, I am here to move the needle in my business and really do money making activities or things that are actually moving the needle in my business. I know that I need to spend time on product creation. So when I'm talking about these things, I'm talking about things that you will actually time inside of Clockify. And it'll make sense when we get into the app, probably next week during our live. So make sure that you're subscribed so that you get a notification when we are live. But what we want to make sure is that we are understanding exactly what it takes to move the needle in our business. So for me, planning and organizing, next thing is product creation. Like how much time am I spending per week for product creation, right? What am I actually doing? And when I start that timer, I know that I'm not moving. That's another thing. A lot of times we task hop, meaning that you might start this task, you might start answering emails, but then you got to create content, then you got to post on Instagram, but then you got to answer these DMs, all sorts of things. And those things are probably not necessary. Like take the time, do not task hop. So when you create time and you know that you're creating routines in your day that you are doing, like for me, I know that content and product creation Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right? So I'm not doing anything else but product creation or content creation on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Monday is my day to just get organized in my business, meet with teams, set our intentions and our goals for the week or for the month, depending on which Monday it is, if it's the first Monday or if it's, the Mondays after. But Tuesdays and Thursdays, I know that I'm creating products or updating my products or, doing things for the academy or doing things for my mastermind or making sure that I'm okay with my one-to-one client work. I may do that on Thursdays as well. So I have specific days for specific things, but I'm always tracking these things. I can't tell you how good it feels at the end of the week when Clockify sends me a full-on readout of what I've spent time doing in my business. The other thing that's going to help you do is when it's time to hire on your team and delegate, you'll see where your time is being spent and what you actually need to be doing and what you can say to a team member. Well, hey girl, I really need help with this or that, right? So make sure that you are tracking your time. I use Clockify, like I said before, and I use the free version. I get a lot out of that free version, right? Yes, I see a few task hoppers in the comments. Listen, we ain't task hopping because you think you're being productive and you think you're getting a lot done, but guess what? Okay, so remember when I first started the video, I told you guys there were two things that I was doing wrong. I was either overworking 16 to 18 hours per day, right? I don't have kids yet, so that's probably why I'm able to zone in for so much time. But I was either doing that, working too much, or I was working that same amount of time, but nothing was moving the needle in my business. Nothing was making the money, and nothing was really directed to, all right, so this, that, boom, right? So it was a lot of busy work, but not a lot of work that was actually moving the needle. And that not actual work that was moving the needle was task hopping work, right? So it's me probably answering an email here, then remembering, oh shoot, I didn't post on Instagram. And it's really about the fact that I was not organized, right? And Ruthie said, I was doing that and I have kids. Exactly. Wow. Ruthie, thank you so much for sharing that. Can you imagine? So, guys, we cannot task hop. As much as we think multitasking is productive and functional, it's really not. And you're doing the most watered down work that you could ever do by actually multitasking. Okay, it's not productive. It's you're actually doing watered down work when you are multitasking. And so I had to really understand that, because let me tell you something, girl, I thought I was doing everything. Right? And I had to realize, well, no, that's really not. Right? And so let me tell you. Oh wait, guys, you guys know I don't ask you for nothing on these live streams. But what I want to ask you for is, if you've gotten this far, if you're sitting here with me still, please give me a thumbs up on this video. Please like this video. Please share this video. I don't ask for nothing else. I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you for cash apps. I'm not asking you for super chats or Venmos. But please, 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 if you like this video, it's going to help me out so much, and I'll appreciate you so much. But I just wanna give us some time to get into the video and like the video, share the video, and share a comment. You guys know how we do. Listen, every Friday I find someone that is here today that never shared that they were here, right? So they're probably silent and shy like me. I'm a wallflower. I'm so shy. I'm such an introvert. So if you're here today, give us a chance to welcome you. Say, hey, Zaylee, you know what? I just want to say hi. Greta said the human brain cannot multitask. It's a myth. Thank you, Greta. Let me tell you guys, that is truly a myth. And I thought it was, something that we can do, but it's not, right? So Chandra definitely gave me that thumbs up and she shared. Done. Thank you, Chandra. Please, guys, if you have not just yet, please give me a thumbs up. I will appreciate it so much. It's going to push us up to more amazing people like you into the algorithm. But listen, the next thing that I want to hop into is another bucket that I have is, so that I covered planning and organization. I also covered making sure that I take time for product creation and content creation. They're two separate things. They're not the same thing. So product creation or updating is where you're getting into your products. Like I said before, last week I spent a lot of time revamping a product that I have, and not last week, probably in the past few days, because I've been doing so much, right? And so getting that together, updating it, removing certain things, bringing out certain things. You guys know I use Descript for that. But so product creation or product updating is your actual products, the things that you're selling. And content creation is different, because that's actually marketing, content marketing. A lot of times we don't think about content being marketing, but it's marketing. If you're on this channel, you've probably heard me say that a few times, right? So making sure that I'm updated with all of that product creation and content creation. And also for me in my business, I also do one-to-one coaching. So always making sure that I'm prepared for that and tracking the time that I'm taking to do that. So I track my planning and organization, I track my product creation, I track my content creation, and I also track my one-to-one coaching, whether that's prep, right? Making sure that I'm preparing for my clients, or even making sure that I am tracking the time that I spend with them, right? And also special events or projects that I have going on. Sometimes I might have an affiliate project. I have Thinking Color coming up in July. We're so excited and we've been working on that. So making sure that I'm tracking time for those things as well. And then also making sure that I'm tracking or making sure that I have team communication in there, because sometimes we don't realize how much we talk to our team or we talk to someone about work or what's going on. And I want to make sure that I'm tracking those things as well. And I have so many other things. Like I said, next week, we'll get into Clockify and how I'm tagging and tracking and all of those things, but making sure that I actually have those things going and flowing and that I'm actually tracking. We want to make sure that we're doing that. The other thing is deadlines. Are you creating deadlines? Or even if you're creating them, are you sticking to them? Do you know that you're more likely to stick to a deadline if you actually have that clock going? Like you set that clock, you're tracking your time, and ahead of time you know that you're gunning for that deadline that you have. Guys, I just realized I did not plug my computer in. So guess what? Live video again. I have to run and plug that in. All right, guys. Whew, that was crazy. Yes. So making sure that you have deadlines and that you're all set up with your deadlines, right? Making sure that you're tracking time in advance so that you're meeting your deadlines. Making sure that you're also setting realistic deadlines. Whew, I told you guys, I work with an accountability coach, and so many times, like, he'll ask me, like, say, yeah, that deadline sounds like you created that deadline with your ego, meaning that I created that deadline so I can rush to the finish line and try to finish it so that I feel good. And then but then again, even though I'm creating it in that moment with that ego in mind, it's not realistic. It's not realistic, right? So create your deadlines, yes, but be realistic about them. I think a lot of us don't do that. Yes, tyranny. I saw you put whoa. And for me, my people, the people that are with me and here with me, are more than likely high achievers. Like, we feel good putting something on the list and ticking it off just to say, listen, I've been knocking my list out, right? But you really have to be aware of sometimes when you're setting things with your ego, you got to remember, girl, you're not going to. And guess what? You set this high expectation of yourself. You tell yourself, I can get this done. And you don't. And then you feel like shit. And guess what? You beat yourself up because you didn't meet that deadline. So we have to be really realistic about how we're setting our goals, what we're looking to accomplish, and if it's a realistic time. That's really, really, really important. So making sure that, like I said before, you get clear on exactly what you're spending time doing in your business. 2, making sure that you're time blocking and not task hopping, right? We don't want to be hopping all over the place trying to figure out, this, that, this, and this, and then you got nothing really good and meaty done for the day. And making sure that you're sticking to your deadlines and that your deadlines are actually realistic, right? We want to make sure of that. Now, here's the next thing that we want to make sure of, guys. Whew. This one, I really had to get into it. Rest. I used to think resting is lazy, right? Girl, I don't know where I got that from. I don't know. But I really used to think that rest was something so lazy and it's just for the people who are uninspired and the people that don't have any ambition, until I realized that even though I love everything that I do, there is burnout associated even with what you love doing. So I had to start making sure, and for you guys, sorry to the guys on the live, but I work by my cycle. So every 4th week or so, you guys will see me say, listen, guys, I was really trying, because I really do try. I push myself a lot, and I have to tell myself, listen, I really can't. So last week we weren't live, but we're live again this week, and I have so much better energy and, all of that. So I know I have to fall off the grid at least 1 week per month. And that was something that was so hard for me to come to terms with. But when I tell you it sets me up, it's I don't want to say it's a setback, but it sets me up for the win. So I know that in my time management and my scheduling, and I have a full video on that, maybe I'll link it down below if you haven't seen it before. I use cycle syncing in my business. And I know that there are certain weeks I have the most energy, certain weeks I should record, certain weeks I should plan, all of that stuff. Right? So that helps me so much in my business. And I want to share it with you guys. These are things that I never thought would make a difference. And so that's why I'm here, like, letting you guys listen, these things are really helpful. And so I think that for me, I really had to come to terms with the fact that rest is actually okay. Rest is okay. You can rest, girl. Sit down. Especially knowing that when you get back into things, like, you'll have your ideas are going to be like so much more clear. Your execution is going to be on point. So many things. And so I really have to, take that into consideration. So if you need to rest, remember that when you rest, when you come back, you're going to be 10 times better. You're going to serve 10 times better. You're going to share 10 times better. You're going to have so much more done. Dominique said rest is required to reset and restore the brain and body. Yes, Dominique. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that's something that I really had to come to terms about. Like, listen, especially you guys got to remember, like, I started in business when I was around, I would say 24, really like going hard, right? And so for me, I have to realize that even at 35, things are not the same. Right? Like, I have to say, girl, listen, the things that you were able to do then, you're just not able to do them now. And that's okay, Zay. Like, you're not going to have the energy that you had before. And I still have trouble accepting that because I feel like, girl, I'm only 35, but things are changing. That's almost 10 years ago or over 10 years ago. Right. So when I could have done certain things before, I may not be able to do those things now. And so understanding that was a huge, 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 huge thing for me. But I will tell you guys that Clockify has been a game changer for me in tracking my time. And even in the mastermind, I have everyone else tracking their time as well, because it's really important for you to track your time. It's so important. Greta said, wait till you cross 40 and beyond, even more important to pace. Greta, and listen, I am receiving what you are sharing right now, okay? Yes, I completely understand because I feel it even now at 35. And so I'm thankful that I have people to give me that foresight, right? Which is why I'm receiving that, Greta. I can imagine, and I can imagine also that when you cross 40, your peace is so much more important, you know. So definitely getting that, but also schedule in rest. Make sure that you're scheduling rest because you can't perform in the way that you need to perform if you're tired or if you're burnt out. Sometimes I have to step away from social media so you guys won't see me sharing in stories. I may have pre-scheduled posts. My team is probably posting and sharing, but I know I need to step away. And so those things are super, super, super important. Dominique said, between gravity on the body, girl, hello, and trying to work hours like I'm 19, I need my rest. And yes, I totally agree. I love you guys for just being here and for just being real while we're talking. Like, I appreciate you guys so much because these things are so true. And it's also important because I can share my perspective, but I mean, look at the amazing things that people are sharing in the chat. Like, these things are essential for us to know, especially as a community, like how we can definitely learn from each other because we're all in different places and spaces. But I just want you guys to understand that time management or time blocking is important. Getting clear on exactly what you're doing and what moves the needle in your business is super, super important. Creating deadlines is really important as well. And creating rest. And the other thing is being flexible, guys. Like, sometimes, you know, we're so hard on ourselves and, you know, we're thinking about deadlines that we've probably created ourselves. Sometimes we have self-imposed deadlines that stress us out. Just like I told you guys, my coach always asks me before the call is over, are you committing to this time or this task? Because you know, this seems like a lot. And that's when I really have to be flexible and evaluate and see what is going to take priority. Like, what's really important that I get out of the way and what's not so important. And so just being flexible with yourself is also very, very important. Greta said, I'm proud to say that at 50, I totally embraced working smarter and not harder. Yes, Greta. Yes. And I had to even learn that at my age. I think when I was around, I would say 32, I started really focusing on outsourcing. I felt like, okay, so I understand what my business needs at this point, and I really need to start getting help and outsourcing things. And so that is where you need to decide, well, am I going to work harder or am I going to work smarter? And sometimes, like I said before in one of our live streams, if you're not subscribed, then you know you need to subscribe. I don't know what you're waiting for to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell and that like button, honey, if you got here late and you haven't done it yet. But what we really need to do is think about, do I have time or do I have money? Which one do I have and how can I, make things easier for myself, right? Cole said, Greta, that is the truth. I'll be 44 in a few months and things are not things are the same. Pace and peace of mind is at the top of my list. Yes, guys, listen, I totally get it. And Greta said rest is non-negotiable. Yes. Yes. And Greta said peace is fuel in so many ways. And that's what I started to realize. Like when I started taking that week away from everything, I had to really understand, well, you know what? Like when I come back, I feel so much better. I'm excited. My energy is different. I have so much more to share. I have a different perspective. I may not, maybe when I needed to rest, I didn't have the clarity that I have when I'm rested. Like, listen, guys. So, like, listen, sometimes you just need to get away from it all. Another thing is sometimes getting away from your work and your industry and just immersing yourself in something else is so helpful because it helps bring perspective from that other industry or other situation into your own situation, right? So sometimes we're looking for answers as it pertains to what's going on with our work or our business. And the answer really is in just stepping away and seeing something else play out or seeing another situation or something else, happen or play out. But guys, listen, I love you guys. I thank you so much for being here. I'd love if you share this, if you like this, and if you can share a comment and just share like what hit you the most out of this whole thing, like out of this whole time management thing. I would love to know. We're back next week where I'll be showing you, inside of my Clockify, how I actually set things up. What are my buckets for making sure that I'm timing inside of those buckets, how I tag, and all of those things. It's so easy to use. It's one of the easiest apps that I've ever used. It's free. Well, I use the free version and I get even a weekly report based on what's happening. And I even have my team using it as well so that they can let me know, like, what they were doing. And that helps me see where we might need help, where this person might be stressed out or where this person might have extra time to do XYZ, all of those things. It just gives me a good understanding of what's going on overall, even though I don't have a huge company. You don't have to have a huge company. You can be a solopreneur and start implementing these practices because it's definitely going to help you as you move forward in your business. All right, guys, I love you and I will talk to you next week. Take care. Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here with me. Bye.